My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we're paranormal investigators who live in the most haunted city on Earth, Savannah, Georgia.
Whether we're in the studio
or out in the field,
we hunt for the stories and experiences where the veil feels thin.
Shout out to our Para-Junkie family on Patreon. This show is only possible with you.
And remember, this is a judgment-free circle. Your experiences matter, your questions are welcome, and the weird is normal.
So cut the lights, turn the volume up, and journey with us into the most haunted city on Earth. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on Earth. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Most Haunted City on Earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And I'm Cotton Eye Tom.
Cotton Eye Tom.
Cotton Eye Tom.
No one's going to write a song about you.
No relation to Joe. No relation to Joe.
How'd you get that name?
Mom. Mom
He's
said
obviously got
Cotton Eye
soft, squishy eyes.
Tom.
Yeah. Soft, fluffy,
Fluffy eyes.
cloud-like, some would say.
All right, let's jump into it.
Yes, we're going to do a ghost mail for y'all today. And before we get into it, some announcements. We only have a couple of announcements for you. But first off, happy October, because if you're listening to it, it is already October. And happy spooky month in general. We have a lot of fun things going on this month here in Savannah. Obviously, we have the museum. You can come visit. And on Halloween, you can actually come to an event at the museum. Yes. I will be doing live SC sessions for this event. And Chris, do you want to tell them a little bit more about that?
Yes, we're calling it Midnight Methods, and it is basically a series of tutorials on the kinds of things that you would do in investigations. We have the Estes method. We have the Savannah Psychics coming out to do some automatic writing. We have all of our equipment out that will basically be doing small little examples of what each one is used for and how to use them all. And that's kind of a fun Halloween evening event that we are going to be doing. And the Savannah Paranormal Museum is going to be doing something interesting every weekend. We'll have something that is a little different, a little odd. We have like pancakes one weekend, and we have...
I saw that. Yeah. I'm very excited for the mini pancakes, actually.
Mini pancake maker, and it's like we'll have pancakes until supplies are gone.
Yes.
So come on out to the Savannah Paranormal Museum.
Yes.
Cool. And I'll put the link in the description for if you want to buy tickets.
Absolutely.
Dope.
Other than that, though, we just got back from our investigation at the Mars Theater, which was harrowing, and we can't wait for y'all to see
Good Lord.
The mess
So many strange things occurred.
We did not expect it to be so...
It is so out of the way and so innocuous. It's just this, kind of a small theater. It's not like there was a lot of nooks and crannies to be going into, but what nooks and crannies were there were full of darkness.
Yes.
Things that wanted to hurt me and Justin so badly.
Yes.
It was unbelievable. You'll see on that investigation when it gets uploaded, the level of torment that sent me into a full-blown, basically panic attack inside this theater, which has never happened to me on an investigation. So enjoy that for your viewing pleasure.
Yep.
Same with Justin. I think Justin also ended up.
Yeah, Justin is not a reactionary person, except in improv comedy. He's quick on his feet, but to have him actually lose his footing that way is very atypical of Justin.
Extremely.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what you have to look forward to.
Yeah, just kind of like it fell apart in a really organized way, if that makes any sense, where like we started to lose people because there was a very specific room with a very specific object, and you have to obviously you'll have to wait. But it was just wild.
Chaos.
Who's chaos? Chaos reigns. All right.
Yeah. So Para-Junkies, you'll be getting that in a couple weeks. They'll be getting it first before the public does. So if you want to see this absolute insanity that has occurred before anybody else, you can join us on Patreon. And we actually have 2 Para-Junkie stories today for Ghostmail. So that's very exciting.
I love it. I love getting Para-Junkie stories.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah,
welcome to Ghostmail.
Thanks.
You really missed an opportunity there to put Tartan's Awu in.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Mix it in.
that.
Our Schnauzer does a supreme howl.
It is supreme.
Like full blown werewolf style Awu to the moon, and it's very cute. And JT missed the opportunity to include that.
Honestly, what am I even doing?
It's coming.
It's coming. It'll be there now. But
All right, go for it.
all right. So first ghost mail we have is from Abigail. And this one was entitled Shadow Figure in Tennessee from a Former Savannian. Now that Chris is properly positioned.
I've got a microphone up my nose now.
A little too high. 1 second.
Enjoy the ASMR of Chris's nose breaths.
Sorry, his mic was falling. All
That's
right.
all my
Wait,
nostril
say
power.
it again.
Okay, so again,
Yes.
if we're ready. Abigail wrote us, and this story in this email was entitled Shadow Figure in Tennessee from a Former Savannian.
Whoa, we've had another shadow figure before, haven't we? In Tennessee.
Yes.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the tree?
The tree,
The
yeah.
camp.
Yeah,
Right.
the look behind.
Years ago.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah,
look behind.
the look
Yeah.
behind.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Heard that. Let's do it.
So, hi, y'all. My husband and I lived in Savannah from 2019 to 2022, but had to move for his new job. We fell in love with the city and wish we could have stayed. We have been back to visit and hope to again soon. I'm looking forward to going to the new museum on our next trip. Definitely should. Thank you, Abigail, for the plug. I found your podcast in search of Savannah ghost stories while missing the city and its history. I love listening to you guys, and I'm finally taking the time to write some of my ghost stories.
Nice.
As a mom of 4 kids, 5 and under, good Lord, Abigail,
Wow.
you are a saint.
Yeah.
That is not for the weary.
No.
So we know she's patient.
Yes. Time is something I don't always have much of, but what I do have is several paranormal experiences throughout the years. Looking back, my experiences seem to have started after having my first child, which was about the same time I started listening to paranormal podcasts. Since then, it has been random, unexplained, and occasionally scary experiences in every place I have lived or visited. Guess you could say that I have cracked the door open. I would wager to say that. Now, I'll start with my scariest experience. My husband and I were driving from North Georgia to Tennessee to visit my sister and family for Easter weekend. We were driving on Good Friday late into the evening. It was after 9 p.m., and we were still winding through dark woods on the curving roads of rural Tennessee. My firstborn, a 1-year-old at the time, was crying a lot from his car seat. Eventually, we pulled over into an empty parking lot of a small white church somewhere in rural Tennessee, which sounds so scary. Not to say that it was a scary church, but something about those old churches in the middle of nowhere just give you unnerving sensations.
Every time, yeah. Absolutely.
Every single time. But yeah, so we pulled into this church to see if he just needed a diaper change. He was okay, but as I stood by the open car door, I felt incredibly uneasy. I kept looking around us and wanted to get back in the car and driving as soon as possible. We finally got to the hotel at around 10:30. It was a True by Hilton. We were exhausted and ready to go right to sleep. I tucked our sleeping 1-year-old in his pack and play and got into bed myself. Later in the night, I woke up and sat up in the bed on my elbows. I could see a dark figure walking along the edge of the bed. That's delightful. That's always really nice. I thought it was my husband looking for his charger or something. I was about to speak and ask if he needed help finding it. But I looked to the other side of the bed and my husband was sleeping next to me. I looked back at the figure, but this time it was turned, looking at me straight on.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
The figure was blacker than the blackness of the room, and it looked like it had the build of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Jacked Shadow Man.
Nobody's asking for The Rock in shadow form. But I was frozen and just sat there staring back at the figure until it growled and threw itself at me. I threw my body back against the bed and pulled the covers over my head. As I did this, I could feel its energy go into the headboard. I laid there for a while, my heart pounding in my chest. I tried to wake up my husband, but after several attempts, I gave up. I was also worried about my son being by himself, so I got the courage to get out of bed and get to him. I laid him in the bed between us. As I laid there, I remembered how it felt when the shadow figure was staring at me. I could feel its pure hatred for me. Somehow, I ended up falling asleep only to wake up to my husband throwing up. I think it was...
Whoa.
Yeah, literally.
That's a twist.
I know. I think it was unrelated and an unfortunate timing of a case of food poisoning.
I wouldn't put it.
I wouldn't put it past that, but that we'll continue. But still creepy nonetheless. Since this, I do get anxiety in hotel rooms and make sure to sleep with the covers over my head. When I hear something, no, I didn't.
Smart.
That is very interesting. Okay, well, we have another short one, and then we'll dive into that. But I forgot to mention that I was pregnant with our second child when this happened. I have so many other stories now, but that is by far the scariest. I will definitely send in my other tales as well as ring footage of our downstairs entry room.
Ooh.
I love that. We live in a 3-story townhouse, and on 3 separate nights, I received notifications of movement on the first level of the house. At the moment, the motion is registered. An orb materializes in the room and moves to the ceiling or another part of the room and disappears. This has never happened before or since, and we have lived here for almost 2 years now. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoy my story. I will find the time to write again. Love y'all. Well, good Lord, Abigail.
Wow. Goodness gracious.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so immediate first thought of this is that you caught the attention of a look behind while you were driving through the woods, and it decided to follow you home, because that is a very typical sort of behavior for them. They are looking to join to somebody.
Well, and the temporary nature of like hotels and motels, roadside places, because of the way that it attracts kind of wayward energies, people on their way places, temporary homes. That's a perfect place for something spooky to attach itself, because it's always going to have new victims coming again and again and again. And it's probably worth mentioning, because we don't really give it enough significance. Equinoxes and solstices.
That's true. Yes.
Are celebrations of these moments because they represent a shift of the dynamic, the electromagnetic dynamic, the weather dynamic, the seasonal dynamic. If it was Good Friday, you were right there in the middle of the vernal equinox.
I didn't even put
and
that into... Oh, that's so
every one of
interesting.
them comes with a thinning of the veil.
Yep.
In the fall, it's the most famous because, that's when we celebrate, Samhain and Halloween, and we're giving it that. And of course, winter solstice, we celebrate Christmas. And then in the summer solstice, you have all the sky-clad Wiccans running around naked. But we don't really talk about these other seasonal shift and changes, because the energies are the same. It is still a matter of time when the veil is thin and when spirits can be more present than they usually are, and the significance of the dates that we choose to celebrate major religious holidays is usually attached to the significance of the changes of season and the changes of the very, nature of the supernatural.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even draw that connection. I honestly should have thought about it being Easter. But yeah, it would make sense why if whatever it was, whether it was a look behind or just a random, little low energy, low vibrational entity. Sorry, I was thinking about the lady from the Conjuring house, where she's like low vibration people, low density people.
Low density people.
Those low density entities.
Did she ever make it to a hospital?
I don't think so.
Oh.
She lost the house.
She did lose the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Why Tennessee got so many look behinds, y'all?
Because it's all woods up there.
So it's that same Appalachian kind of entities, but so much of Tennessee has those winding roads through it, and so much of that is settled, and so much of it is you're actually penetrating right into the wilderness of Tennessee wherever you go. So there isn't that same kind of like mystique of lost area. And I think it's because, the way Tennessee is shaped, it's like long and thin, which cuts through horizontally through all of that. Yeah. So you're going through places that when we're looking at the Appalachian Trail from Maine down, we tend to build on one side or the other. Tennessee just drives right through it.
That's pretty true. Yeah. And I mean, there's plenty of places to hide in plain sight, to be quite honest, and North Georgia as well. Yeah, if you're driving anywhere in that capacity.
So it's not about the state lines, it's about just the Appalachian.
Yeah.
Right, because I think you're dealing with like kind of like the foothills, right? It's more passable, it's more integrated with communities. You've got all these valleys where people built into the valleys, and those valleys are kind of settled upon. Because when you get into like North Carolina and that area where the mountains are kind of rocky and regionous, you're not getting big towns on top of the mountains as much. You might run into them, but really you're coming off of the Appalachian like this into the foothills and places where people settle.
And so that's where the look behind be.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's where you encounter them, because I'm sure there's plenty up on the top. There's just not as many people.
Yeah.
It's a little more scarcely populated when you get into the higher rocky regions of the mountains.
And for something that feeds on people and their energy, you would want it to be somewhere that's populous in some degree, or has movement
towards it. Sure.
Yeah,
but not too many people. Like Nashville wouldn't have look behind.
No.
And Nashville's pretty far away from that mountain range, so like you get that East Tennessee sort of into the Pigeon Forge area. That whole
Pigeon Forge though would have them.
I think that's probably where you're getting to that last bit of that hilly, valley, mountainy kind of region.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you're in a mountain, there's a possibility. That's basically
mountains are amazing supernatural breeding grounds because partly because of the isolation, the mineral deposits inside the mountains, the rocks, the jagged conditions, and of course we always pull back to the fact that the Appalachian range is still the Scottish mountain range. It just split from Pangea. They're the same mountains.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you get the same stories in Scotland that you do throughout the Appalachian Trail.
Exactly. I completely agree. Also, important that you noted that you were pregnant.
Pregnant, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times pregnant women do tend to be more vulnerable to paranormal encounters because pregnant women are seen as sacred. And what a wonderful win it would be for something that is malevolent. So to get something sacred.
Also to point out, I cannot think of another entity that shows up jacked like the Rock.
Right?
Most entities are like skeletal or thin, they're long and thin and long fingers long. They're not like, smell what I'm cooking. That's not the sensation. The fact that he was, or it was a physically imposing figure is very interesting to me. And it makes me want to kind of look around, because look-behinds are not usually seen in full. You only catch like the corners of them behind stuff. That's why they're called look-behinds. It's very interesting to me, and I want to look it up because you might have stumbled upon a Native American bear entity, possibly a skinwalker that was utilizing the shape of a bear rather than the shape of a wolf or a mountain cat or something like that, because the size of it is intriguing to me. Even like the Wendigo, which is oftentimes a creature that is up to 12 feet tall, isn't normally thought of as muscular or broad. It's also very skeletal. I think we think of the supernatural in skeletal terms. So it's interesting that he has meat on him.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
chunky.
If my look behind doesn't give me the eyebrow, I'm going to get pissed. Whenever my look behind finds me. I want the eyebrow.
All
we'll,
right.
we'll
pass the note along.
Yes, we'll contact the look behind department.
Yeah.
And be like, we have a request for an eyebrow.
Absolutely.
All right, that was awesome.
All right.
Oh wait, what we didn't talk about the throw up.
So I personally, when I am faced with something that is particularly supernaturally charged, do get nauseous. I get dizzy. I get nauseous. So it's
not unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
You know, because that suggests that it was causing him a physical reaction to just the presence of the thing, which I think is kind of normal. I've been in at least 2 other circumstances where the retching that comes from being exposed to a very potent and powerful paranormal entity is kind of like, oh yeah, that's there. That's really there because it jumbles up your insides.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people have all sorts of physical reactions to encountering a spirit. People pass out. People feel like they need to run. There have been, I've seen so many people feel like they get dizzy or they lose their vision or they feel like they have vertigo, all sorts of things. Bodies are very sensitive to energy shifts, and sometimes it leads to physical reactions. But yeah. Other than that, though, thank you, Abigail, for sending your story. That is terrifying. And yeah, please send us any more stories you have. And if you're listening to this and you have a ghost story, you can send it to ghostmail at hauntedcitypodcast.com. I'm going to probably say that 3 more times throughout the episode. So if you miss it, I'll probably say it multiple times again.
Yes, and soon we are going to start taking videos.
Yes.
I forgot to mention that. We are going to start taking videos, and what I'm going to do, it's basically, I prefer it via WeTransfer. It's free, up to 2 gigabytes. You can record it on your cell phone. But I will include instructions down below for the next Ghostmail.
Very cool. Awesome. So our next one comes from Parajunkie Alex, who's in the chat.
Woo!
And this was entitled My First Sleep Paralysis Experience.
Aw.
Yay. Baby's first sleep demon. It's
Rawr.
Oh, I'm excited for this one.
All
Now,
right.
y'all, Alex has been a Parajunkie, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like...
Since you were a wee
I
tyke.
was like, a tyke. She's been my point is, she's been a Parajunkie for I believe the full 3 years.
Probably.
So this is exciting.
Yeah. So it went, Hi, JT, Chris, and Madison. Just watched the episode about sleep paralysis and demons, which none of y'all got to see because all the demons of this building did not want that put out. We had horrendous technical difficulties throughout that. So if you weren't there for the live stream, I'm sorry. But Alex was. So I've had health issues in the past that have caused my left arm to go numb. It's been treated and cleared in normal sleep. I live alone and had my apartment all locked up and had my show on while I was asleep. I don't know if I was awake or sleeping because nothing changed. My room is dark except for my show I'm binge watching is on Murdoch Mysteries.
Oh, sure.
I noticed something moving, but it wasn't a body. It seemed like I caught the tail end of a black sheet, and I can't look over. All of a sudden, I feel my left side of my body go so numb I couldn't lift up to move. My right side was fine. I was able to speak at least, and I shouted, "In Jesus' name, I rebuke you!"
Woo! You show that demon.
Yes. Now I'm not a religious person or well learned in Bible stories, but I never say that. I'm still shocked about it. I have 2 pentagrams tattooed on me. And there was a part 2 to this email. So this is like the 4th time writing this, and my emails disappear.
This is not the first time we've heard that.
Yeah.
We have definitely had other people write in saying that they had tried on multiple occasions and something went wrong in the process of getting it to us.
Which always is concerning, but nonetheless. Continuation of part 1. I sent way too early before. After I say Jesus' name, I felt released, and I jump from my bed and run and look back and see my blanket is off my bed. I am in my living room area and I stand there out of breath. Next thing I know, I am back in my darkened room in my bed. Murdoch Mysteries is still on the TV and I am awake at this point. I know because I look at my doorway and the trim of the door is bright white. It wasn't like that before. I didn't mention this, but also I think I saw something. I don't know if it was real or not. Like if I manifested this creature. It was a black creature crouched down at the foot of my bed. When I looked back at my bed, I believed he held my blanket back. I mentioned before a black sheet waving. This creature had no sheet attached to him. I don't recall if he came to the doorway when I was catching my breath at the end. This was the first sleep paralysis I've ever had, if it's considered one. I've had really vivid dreams of people, night terrors, and dreams of passed on loved ones, but nothing that was paralyzing. I really hope this doesn't become a thing with me. Thank y'all for enjoying my emails, part 1 and part 2. See you on the next live. Stay spooky, Pookie.
Nice.
Yeah, to be quite honest, Alex, I do think you experienced sleep paralysis. And it very well could have.
Although I would point out that having one side of you paralyzed
is interesting.
paralysis,
Yeah.
while the other side is still mobile. I mean, I would be afraid you had a stroke.
That's what I would have thought immediately.
But because I'm trying to think if I'd ever heard of partial sleep paralysis of a person encountering something that is not completely paralyzed, still able to move a part of them or something like that. However, it's very common to evoke the name of Christ and have it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, when I was first learning about the boo hag, I was told that you just simply call out to Christ 3 times. Mm-hmm. And that's all you have to do. If you say Jesus Christ 3 times, call out to him 3 times, the boo hag or the sleep paralysis demon will go away, will abate. And I was like, that's very interesting. I wonder what that is, especially because I was told that it doesn't matter whether you're religious or not. It doesn't have any bearing on your faith at that point. And I think that's because religion is so drummed into our culture that our culture and our cultural recognition of these things, these items, a cross or a holy water, all these things have already been vetted by our society at large, that the entities that deal with us don't have time to wonder what your faith level is.
Right.
They don't have to, it's like, I'm sorry, I thought you were a Pentecostal. Let me just rewrite this. And that's a big part of how exorcisms work in the first place. It is about having a structured belief process, a ritualized process that allows for spirits to recognize what's what business is coming their way. And that's why we assign priests, this responsibility, because they have secluded themselves from society with the sole purpose of dedicating themselves to the faith. So they carry that faith with them and on them. And that puts it in a category where it's palpable to the spirits. And for us, if they are feeding on us and we call out to anything, they're thinking, well, whatever they're calling out to must be the strongest thing in their lexicon, in their purview. And I do believe that cultural significance of religious icons plays a big role in the effectiveness of those icons.
Absolutely. Because we've also heard sleep paralysis stories where people are pagan and they call out to the deity that they work with. So it really is a matter of what your intention is behind it. Because whatever it is that is bothering you is going to be lesser than a deity, which in reality, if you're looking at it on a categorizing sort of way, Jesus would be technically a deity, so it would be very powerful over anything that would be trying to bother you. And so that's going to scurry away like a cockroach under the name of anything that you invoke that is going to be significantly higher. Alex did say, I had a thrombosis and I was squeezing my hands to make sure if I still had feeling in my hands. And if I can feel my hands and one is not softer than the other, I'm okay.
Sure.
But I was fine. I need to tell my neuro doc. I've slept with all my stuffed animals since that night. I want to be released on what was holding me down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And honestly, It very well could have been a one-off sort of thing. It could have been an entity trying you. You do live in New Orleans, so it's not uncommon.
And this is interesting too, because even in the previous email, there was mention of the podcast. And we have heard this from numerous spooky content creators that they've had listeners who, upon listening to them for a regular amount of time, started having paranormal occurrences. And that is because the act of listening to our podcast is also opening your mind, opening your senses to the idea and allowing you a wider vocabulary when it comes to spiritual entities, thus making you more susceptible to this kind of behavior, which also hopefully gives you an idea of how to use the tools of faith or the tools of protection, because we talk about that a lot as well.
And at the very least, just keeping things by your bed that makes you feel protected is oftentimes an excellent
double-barreled shotgun.
Yeah, if that's what makes you feel safe. JT's brother has had horrible sleep paralysis.
Horrible.
And
but he also is very much of Gullah Geechee descent.
Yes. And
for those of you who don't know, my brother is black.
Yes.
That's being ridden by the hag then.
Yes. And it has been very common for him. So what he does is it's his grandmother's Bible, right? JT? Yeah, yep. He keeps his grandmother's Bible next to his bed, and that is what makes him feel protected. And he's had significantly less sleep paralysis issues because of it. So it can be as simple as things like that. Depending on the culture that you're looking into for sleep paralysis, everybody has different takes on what you can use to protect you. A lot of people in a lot of different religions, or I should say cultures, they all seem to have a commonality that these things are compelled to count. So leaving hairbrushes.
Obsessive compulsive.
Yes, exactly. And so you can leave hairbrushes, brooms, anything that has like a lot of bristles to it.
That is a key component of vampire lore that a lot of people don't talk about.
I always tell people that too.
They're like, vampires are notorious for not being able to pass by untied things. They have to tie everything that's untied. They can't pass anything that you have to count. So they used to say carry poppy seeds. If you carried poppy seeds in your pocket, if a vampire attacks you, throw the poppy seeds on the ground, and they have to stop until they pick up each one and count them.
It's pretty awful.
You very rarely see that in stories. I'm like, that's a brilliant story piece.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So a garlic poppy seed bagel, you're good.
Yeah.
There is an amazing vampire story in which a vampire is coming up and a guy has a piece of poppy seed roll and he throws it and the vampire is laughing because all the poppy seeds stuck to the roll, but one seed fell off and it was on the beach, so it was a poppy seed in the sand. And he ended up having to drop down his count, and the sun came up on him while he was looking for that poppy seed. I was like, that's such a good story.
That's epic. Yes. Yeah,
Count Dracula. That's right.
I used to tell my guests that all the time when I talk about the hag story. I'm like,
yeah.
if you're familiar with vampires, they're in a little bit of a same boat.
They're
here.
obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, and people would look at me like I had 3 heads, and I'm like, they're not as different as you think. But anyways, nonetheless. Yeah, Alex, keep something by you. If that's your plushies, that's great. Otherwise, anything that makes you feel safe. But thank you for sending in your spooky stories.
That was awesome, Alex.
Yes. And then our next one is Parajunkie Emma.
So we had 3 kind of sleep paralysis shadow figures.
Yeah, basically.
Wait, what's this one about?
Sleep paralysis.
Oh my gosh.
And remember, everybody, we don't curate these. They just come. We read them as they come in. And so this is literally just 3 stories in a row that seem to have the same encounter, and we have this happen often when we do Ghostmail. But yeah, this one was entitled "The Time I Thought a Spirit Broke Into My Dorm and Sleep Paralysis." Hi, Madison, Chris, and JT. Parajunkie Emma here again with another Ghostmail story for y'all. I was watching today's live stream, the same live stream that went to hell, on the different sleep paralysis demons, and mentioned in the chat that I only had one possible sleep paralysis episode. I have my story attached in the PDF, and that sketch is the sleep paralysis entity that I saw. Please let me know if you need any other information. I love your podcast so much and the deep knowledge and passion you all share/provide on all things paranormal, local history, and true crime. Thanks, Emma. And that is a horrific drawing. It gives Wendigo a little bit.
It does give Wendigo, but it also gives Púca.
Ooh, do tell.
Because so a Púca oftentimes will appear like a rabbit, but it's a monstrous rabbit. But these are shape-shifting creatures that are from Irish lore, Celtic lore, and there's something that reads kind of Púca-ish about it. On the lightest extreme, Harvey from the movie Harvey with the invisible rabbit, he's actually a Púca. To the darkest version, which is a movie called Púca, in which a Púca is going around ripping people to shreds.
As they do.
As they do. Like they do.
So the writing underneath the photo says, sleep demon I had in a nap. Antlers or horns, not sure, but has black claws and void black face. Very negative, very lifelike. And this happened on February 16th of 2019. So now I shall read you the story. All right. Let me zoom in here because I don't have eyes that work. Okay. Hi, Madison, Chris, and JT. Hi, guys. Parajunkie Emma here again. I wrote in a while ago about my experience at the Shanley Hotel, the time where I thought a spirit was extremely attached to me. Yeah, that story. I still lean towards an extreme attachment as I haven't felt any lingering effects from that night. Parts of that night are still a blur to me. I hated every single second of that experience, but anyway, boy, do I have another story for you. This is when I was first getting into anything revolving around paranormal investigating, having any form of paranormal experiences, and getting into anything metaphysical, tarot, runes, etc. I attended University of New Haven, and back in my sophomore year, I was a part of the Ghost Club. That's fun. Okay, here's some background about this club. Now, once you've done the club's required classes, passed their tests, and have done their personal investigation, you become an investigator with the club. Yes, you've read that right. Classes and a test. When I say investigation, it was just my roommate and I investigating our dorm room by doing an EVP session, using our phones, audio recorders, and taking photos. That's it. The classes were okay, to give it the nicest wording, but honestly, I've learned more of the paranormal after leaving that club from my own research and from your podcast. Now, when you become an official investigator with this club, your first investigation with the club is to investigate Maxey Hall. Maxey Hall used to be an orphanage, originally called New Haven County Temporary Home for Dependent and Neglected Children. That is a mouthful. Which opened in 1909 and closed in 1955. There are rumors that it burned down to the ground with all the children in it, but that is not true. In 1960, it was bought by UNH. There's probably way more to its history as an orphanage, but I couldn't find that much online. It currently houses classrooms, conference rooms, a random cafe that I've never seen anyone go into, and staff offices. All this information is public knowledge and not a deep, dark secret UNH keeps tight-lipped. Now, before I get further on with my story, I have to explain that my dorm room was most likely haunted, as the investigation and my dorm room ghost stories are connected. To lay the groundwork, my dorm that year was converted apartments that the school bought for student housing. It was 2 stories tall, with only 4 dorms in the whole building. I was on the ground floor, and right below me in the basement is the school's multi-faith prayer and meditation space. My roommate and I were the ones who really felt this spirit the most. My other roommates didn't really have any interactions with it. Most of my experiences were centered around the common area. I constantly felt like someone was in that room when I was alone in it, in the dorm specifically. Feeling like someone was hiding in the common area's closet, and whenever the door was open to the closet, it felt like whatever it was, it wanted it to remain shut. One time when I had the door open in the middle of the day with the sun beaming at it, I swear I thought I saw a dark figure in a crouching position down near the floor. Cue.
We don't like lurkers.
When we don't like. Why is everybody crouching? Why are they all crouching?
Crouching lurkers.
The closet felt like the spirit's domain and was very protective over it. Being very new to having any paranormal experiences, this was very terrifying and sometimes just downright annoying. I hated being alone in the common area at times. I only felt safe to be in there if my roommates were in the dorm with me. I was super annoyed whenever I had to open the closet to grab my coat or get the vacuum. Interestingly enough, another person from the Ghost Club lived in my dorm room a year before me. She described having the same exact experiences that I was having, but she had one piece of information my roommate and I did not know. Apparently, she investigated the dorm with her friends and somehow found out that a man hung himself in the closet in the common area.
Good gobbledygoo.
Literally.
Jeez.
Now, do I know if what she said was 100% true? No. But did it make some sort of sense to me as to why the spirit would be so protective over a freaking closet? Yes. Okay, sorry for the long preamble. Now actually getting on with my story. I can't remember if this was the first time or second/third time we investigated Maxie Hall that this experience took place, but it all happened during the same night/investigation. During this investigation, my group and I went into different rooms of the building and used whatever ghost investigation equipment we had at the time. We went into this one room that was a large science room on the second floor. The story goes that there is a male entity in the room that lives in the back supply closet, not the same entity as my dorm room ghost. He was reported to not like men, prefers to be alone with women, and is said to be over 7 feet tall.
Oof.
Oh, he's also known to choke people. Good God.
By the way,
he wants to be alone with women and he chokes people. Great. Good choice. During the investigation of this room, one person asked the entity if it wanted the men to leave. Right before we asked this, we were seeing shadows move in the closet. One piece of equipment went off. I forget which piece of equipment it was, and we confirmed it was a yes or a no. We confirmed it was a yes, and so the men left. Right after the men left, I felt an icy sensation around my neck.
Oh.
Very slowly, I started to feel pressure around my neck. It literally, it straight up told you. It was like, yeah, guys, y'all gotta leave because I want to choke people. Like, that's so awful. Why are they?
I'm on a schedule here.
Why are they putting you guys in this room? Oh my God.
We need thin throats.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, so I froze in terror as I was trying to process if my throat was just randomly feeling tight due to poor ventilation, 2, if I had a cold coming along, which might explain a sore throat, and 3, if a spirit was actually trying to choke me. The best way to describe the sensation is it feels like a turtleneck is too tight on your neck and getting tighter. But the sensation came with an icy feeling and goosebumps. I wouldn't say that's a cold, to be quite honest.
Those are not typical
cold symptoms. A few minutes went by and the guys came back. We decided to leave the room and the sensation was getting stronger. It felt like it was gripping tighter and tighter around my neck. I didn't want to tell anyone at first because I was afraid they wouldn't believe me or think I was making it up. I finally told our group leader what was happening when we took one step out in the hallway that led to the science room. I still had the ability to talk, but the choking sensation was still there. I was partially frozen in fear, and he had to guide me away from that room. The sensation lessened and lessened the farther away we got from there, which is giving me even more indication that it was the choking ghost. Good God. I finally felt normal when we got back to base camp up on the 3rd floor. The other incident of that night was when our group was on the 2nd floor by the main stairwell. I forgot exactly what led up to this, but someone in our group was saying how she felt a little child spirit near us. But then the spirit morphed into something negative and felt massive. My roommate first started saying that she felt like something was pressing onto her shoulders and it felt very warm. I remember feeling as if the air temperature plummeted immediately after she said that. Right after she spoke, I started feeling the sensation while she said it was lifting on her. I told them what was happening, and our group leader had everyone else return to base camp except for my roommate. The investigator who first mentioned the child spirit, myself, and our group leader. The investigator told us to channel the feeling towards her as she was somehow able to banish spirits. I'm not sure exactly what she meant by that, but I did as she told me, and shortly enough, my roommate and I felt fine. Finally, we ended the investigation for the night, but my experiences do not stop there. What a harrowing evening.
Yes.
My roommate and I finally got back to our dorm room. To get to our bedroom, you have to walk past, you guessed it, the common room. The hair on the back of my neck stood up as I looked at the chair in the common room. I swear to God, this felt like time stopped, but it only happened in the blink of an eye. I looked at the chair and saw a full man just sitting there. I still remember seeing the outline of his Roman-style nose and the fedora-type hat he wore on to this day. The minute I blinked, he was gone. I legit thought someone broke into our dorm. In a spurt of random bravery or stupidity, I went into the common room with my phone's flashlight on. I turned on the lights and I looked in every nook and cranny. I found nothing. I made sure my dorm's locks were locked and asked my roommate if she saw him. She said no. I told her what I just saw, and she stared at me white as a sheet. I did not call campus security, as what would I even say to them? That I thought a person broke into our dorm, immediately vanished in front of me, and to top it all off, it could have been a ghost. We both were equally unnerved by what happened at the investigation and now terrified of the prospect that our ghost closet can now leave the closet. We stayed up for at least another hour before we crashed for the night. It does not stop there. A few days or so go by and we feel absolutely nothing in the common room. No sense of dread, no feeling of anxiety of opening the closet door. Literally nothing. It's as if he vanished. But one day I was taking a nap in my bed. I was completely alone in my dorm. All of my roommates were out at the time. Now my bed was a bunk bed, so you have to climb a ladder to get into my bed. I remember I was waking up from my nap, but I couldn't move my limbs. I slowly felt anxiety take over me, but it got worse. I look at my feet where my ladder is. I see a deer-headed monster creeping onto my bed.
Oof.
It had classic antler-shaped horns and looked like it was made of inky shadows that were cascading off of it. It had a very triangular-shaped face to it, sort of like a deer skull. The energy coming off the entity was extremely negative. I still remember seeing its shadows like shadow-like hands reach out to me. It felt very lifelike, as if this entity was really at the end of my bed trying to reach out to me. It lasted like only a minute before I jolted fully awake and could move my entire body. I quickly sketched what I remember it looking like. That was the only time I've ever experienced anything like that before, and I've never had any other experiences like that since then. I can't confidently say if it was sleep paralysis or not. It could have been one final parting gift from the closet entity, but I don't know. Myself and my roommate never felt anything again in our dorm room.
That was a
That
mistake.
scared that scared me. Oh, good God. Okay, where was I? Yeah, I was like, where was I? Okay. My roommate and I never felt anything again in our dorm room, and we went the rest of the year without any further incidents. Well, I'm not sure how to end this, but thanks for reading. I'm attaching my sketch that I found of it to the email. Feel free to share and give any thoughts regarding this. I do have a few other ghost stories up my sleeve and stories from my partner who's a 911 dispatcher. Yes.
Indeed.
I would love to hear those stories. Those are always insane.
Chris, you saw the sketch, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
From her work and her personal life, I'm trying to get her to write to y'all. Love y'all so much. Keep up the amazing work, and hopefully one day I'll get to visit Savannah. Stay spooky, Emma. P.S. If you're having issues reading my horrible handwriting in the photo, it says 2/16/19 sleep demon I had in a nap, antlers or horns. Not sure, but long black claws and void black face, very negative, very lifelike. The right shows the full image of the body of what I remember. On the left is half of the figure's face.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty Wendigo
Very
centric. And New Haven would be Algonquin adjacent, certainly. So that's where the Wendigo actually comes from. So that's fascinating and terrifying and horrible, really. Yeah. No kidding.
I mean, what a terrifying few hours of like life in general.
Well, even the notion of a spirit choking you is just so intense, and intriguingly, there are spirits of like when you're in a place where somebody has hanged themselves. People oftentimes do have like throat pains and feelings of that nature of losing their breath or being choked out. But it seems like there's this mad storm of incidents falling on top of each other, because there's also the notion that this spirit took on this form with a with specific and express desire to impart terror, to make you terrified, and if it's dealing in local lore, if it's dealing with something that it understands, because even the deer-headed Wendigo image is not truly what the natives would have allotted for it. It's kind of an anglicized version of that. So I'm interested by this fedora-wearing man who you saw in a split second, and if he's not in some way going, I know a scary thing, I have a scary thing up my sleeve, that kind of notion.
Yeah.
I do think the two incidents, like the incidents that occurred in your dorm and the incidents that occurred in the science room, totally different entities.
Yeah,
Maybe you just have one of those things where energetically some people are more, for lack of a better word, bright to entities, where you're like almost like a beacon to.
And New Haven's a pretty haunted area. I mean, all of Connecticut really is. I'm guessing this is New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, that's what I assume.
I'm sure
too.
there are other New Havens out there, but I think this is New Haven, Connecticut. And if it is New Haven, Connecticut, that's like where Ed and Lorraine Warren got their start. That's where literally the amount of ghostly lore that is just spread throughout that region is very rich. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think what was living in your closet in your dorm was what everybody was saying it was. Because if you're having all these encounters and they're all shadowy, to me, that feels like the same entity that is manifesting in different forms. So the man sitting in the fedora, maybe, I don't know if you had a Hat Man experience in life or something, but... Sure.
Well, and that's, it's a really interesting point, because in some of these cases, when a spirit is trying to present itself to you, it may have some kind of message, and it's choosing forms that it feels you will understand the message. And if the message is, be afraid, be very afraid, that kind of notion does come across this idea that, maybe we are dealing with a frightful, entity and its frightful, purpose.
Yeah. And as for the entity in the science room, I mean, listen, if they're telling people like, hey, there's a choking ghost that likes to pick on women and wants men to get out of the room, it sounds like it's pretty clear what this entity's motives are. Right. So maybe, I mean, I'm sure you don't attend this school anymore, but maybe they shouldn't let women into that room if it's dangerous, because obviously it's an accurate story. And that's one of those one of the main issues with any investigative endeavor is how much you feed into the story. You have to be very cautious about feeding the ghosts, letting them have their way. We're so bent on getting the evidence that we forget that there are safety measures and that the reason why the spirit's there unknown to us, but it's like, oh yeah, this is where people get their eyes plucked out. Take your glasses off. That's just it's exactly. Such a bizarre trade that we're in, where it's like, oh, this is the room where the demon is. Well, okay, you start speaking in Latin and we'll see what happens. It is an FAFO nightmare when you get into the wrong modality, when your mind is more racing with the idea of, I'm going to provoke, I'm going to encounter, I'm going to do the thing that is clearly the most damaging and frightening and likely to cause harm thing to do. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, honestly, fascinating stories. And please have your partner write into us because
absolutely.
I would love to hear those stories.
We love
as
all
well.
stories from first responders, from police. Whenever you get these stories, because these are, again, people who are trained to really listen and pay attention, to really try to understand all of the mechanics of a moment, because that's life and death situations. So they are very hyper aware of all the information that they take in. And if it doesn't match up, that makes it all the more compelling.
Absolutely. But thank you all so much for sending in all your stories. If you have a ghost story you'd like to send to us, you can send it to Ghostmail at hauntedcitypodcast.com. But that is all we have for you today. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you're listening to this. And my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And stay spooky, y'all.